outside is frightful, but the fire is so delightful. Since we've no place to go, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow.
Hi guys, and welcome to my channel, Wrestling with Books, where today I'm going to be talking to you about my favorite audiobook. So why am I filming this right out of the shower, laundry on the bed? I'll tell you. It's because I listen to my audiobooks while I do my makeup, while I do my laundry. And so I thought today I would talk to you about my audiobooks while I do those things. It's kind of my way of getting to talk really casually and not get nervous or formal, and a way of multitasking what I have to do. So I will let you know I'm starting with my Clinique moisturizer while I start talking to you about my favorite audiobooks. I think I have narrowed it down to 5, but don't hold me to it, okay? I started listening to audiobooks within the past 2 years, and there is one in particular that I talk about all the time. So if you are new to my channel, maybe you've never heard of it before, but if you're not new, you've heard me rave about this, and it is, drum roll, The President is Missing by James Patterson and Bill Clinton. This audiobook really was what solidified audiobooks into my repertoire of reading. It was so good, so riveting. It really made me think, wow, people who listen to radio shows before TV weren't missing anything, because this was, wow. So The President is Missing is about a president. He kind of almost feels like an underdog type of president. And he, while he's in office, there becomes a virus threat. And I will say, because I think it's important, that this is not anything that will cause like COVID triggers, but there is all they know is that it is a virus threat, and he goes kind of undercover to solve it, sometimes even against the wishes of people on his team, and that's why he is missing. And you go through the day-to-day, it's almost like 24, where it feels like you're getting the hour-by-hour play, and just what can happen, you know, in 1 to 2 days is like a lifetime worth of stuff. And it is so good. It is so good. It is narrated by several people, but one of which who narrates the president and a few others is Dennis Quaid, and he was excellent. This really like sold me on Bill and Hillary writing books. I was like, fine, I'm with it. Even if they're not really writing it, like, I just don't care, because it was so good. So I highly recommend it if you're going to be going on like a road trip, maybe with a partner. I think this is a great book to listen to, because I feel like it's a lot like, and it reads a lot like, TV dramas that people in your life may already be comfortable with. So why not give that one a try? So the next audiobook I'm going to be talking about is probably my second favorite. It's like, well, that would make sense because I'm talking about it second. And it is Children of Blood and Bone by Toni Adeyemi. And this one, I have to say, there's 2 books already released in the series, and book 1 I read on audiobook, book 2 I did not, and I loved the audiobook so much better. So I don't know if book 1 is a better book or whatnot, but I think I would stick with the audiobook experience for this book. So Children of Blood and Bone is a fantasy, and it's about Zaylee, and you know, it's about magic and Zaylee's journey as she, you know, conquers really, and as she learns her powers and learns to save her community and village and people and country. You know, I'm not sure of it's been a while since I've read it, and I loved it so much I didn't feel I needed to read up on it before talking about it, and now I'm like, maybe I did. But what initially piqued my interest to this book was that I heard it was optioned by Lucasfilms. So I thought, wow, let me, you know, read it now. It's available on audiobook, and let's see how I like it. And it was fantastic. fantastic. The narrator is incredible. She really, I mean, transports you into a whole new world and place. But you're not just following Zaylee's story, you are following the prince, you are following a few characters, her brother. There are just, oh, you're following, oh my gosh, there's just so many. You're following a best friend. Like, there's so many as they're coming to me now, and they're all such great characters, and they're all delivered so well. And as the story goes on, their lives start to intermingle more and more. But it was just like, it was after, because it was so good and so powerful. If you like fantasy novels, whether it's YA or not, because even though I believe this is marketed as YA, it did not feel it. They're young adult characters, but they're dealing with very adult issues, not in terms of like adults like sex, drugs, and rock and roll, but of lives and death and kingdoms and all this. I don't know if they use the term kingdoms, but of prophecies and everything and magic. It's really incredible, and I don't want to become too repetitive by just saying it's incredible over and over, so I guess I will stop there and go on to the next one. But I highly recommend it, particularly in audiobook format, because, you know, I had such a good experience with that as compared to book 2. Okay, so it looks like so far I have 8 books that I want to talk about. So we still have some time. I'm just taking a smaller brush, so I'm going to do the same colors underneath now. But the next book I want to talk about is Three Sisters by Heather Morris. And Three Sisters is based on a true account of 3 sisters who end up in Auschwitz. And Heather Morris is the author of The Tattooist of Auschwitz. And I think it was easier for me to take in such harsh and horrible information in audiobook format. The audiobook narrator does a great job of differentiating between each of the 3 sisters. We hear about their journeys before the war starts, during, and we hear about it after too, and how after is not necessarily this, you know, immediate relief, and what they go through afterwards too. You know, it does have a good ending, which to me is gosh, is at least helpful. I mean, how good of an ending can you possibly have in these scenarios? But it is a really fantastically written book, and really translated well in the audiobook format. So if you like historical books, it does read as historical fiction despite being based on a true story. So it is not something that is going to be reading like a textbook. It reads, you know, very much like historical fiction, and in the end you do get to hear about the sisters that the story is told for, which is really nice. So I've obviously never done a video like this, so I see I'm going in and out of focus. Apologies if there's times of that I miss and I'm not able to address. Alright, next we have, this is kind of more of a domestic thriller. It's After Anna by Lisa Scottoline. Lisa Scottoline has been writing for a very long time, so by now she is very, very good. And After Anna, oh, this is Estee Lauder, but it's totally come off. After Anna tells the story of a family. It's a wife, her husband, and they have a son together, and then a daughter that she had placed for adoption ends up coming back into their care and life. And you go back and forth between the life after Anna came and the life before, and there are so many twists and turns on this journey of what Anna does to their lives. correction, she did not place Anna for adoption. She lost custody of her after experiencing postpartum psychosis. So there was a lot of pressure on her to make this relationship with Anna work and make the relationship with her husband work. But there is a major twist that you are getting pieces of throughout the whole story. It's great if you like mysteries, especially in a domestic setting. I would add this one to your list. The next book I have to include is Camino Island by John Grisham. And I think that's what's really great about audiobooks. You know, a lot of these more long-standing authors like Lisa Scottoline, John Grisham, I mean James Patterson, maybe I wouldn't pick up normally, but when I see them on audiobook, they're really easy to digest and listen to. I'm able to give them a chance, and wow, like I'm learning why they are so good at what they do. Camino Island, I adore. It is about classic like first edition books, like we're talking like Fitzgerald and book collecting to that really extreme degree where it's like, you know, equivalent to, let's say, collecting art. And it's about the black market for that. And a struggling author, Mercer, is requested to go undercover in Camino Island because they believe Mercer will be a good front. They won't know that she's there, you know, looking for info, to figure out if this bookseller in Camino Island knows anything or is responsible when it comes to these black market trades and stolen books. So not only do you get kind of the more fluff side of this Camino Island beachside community, but you get the really cool, intense stuff about stealing the books. And as a book lover, especially because there's a bookshop in it too, book lovers, I think if you're gonna read John Grisham, read this one. There's a book after it called Camino Wins. That one I read on I read traditionally and I liked it just as much. So I would say these two books, you know, you could really consume either way. But Camino Island I read via audiobook and really enjoyed it. The narration was great. The story was told really well throughout it. And book lovers, you've got to check that one out because it's a story I think we all would love. So now I'm gonna blow dry my hair and then we'll clean up some of this mess. Video may be hitting us with more real life than we are ready for, but you know, I'm doing it anyway because like I told you, you know, I'm cleaning. I'm cleaning. So this is how the place looks and this is how I look. So audiobooks though, guys, audiobooks. Let's talk about the Robert Langdon series, The Da Vinci Code, Dan Brown. I talk about these books all the freaking time, but what I don't talk about is the book Origin. That one I listened to on audiobook and it was very, very good. It was just as suspenseful and easy to follow and thrilling via audiobook as it is through text. And I have to say, because Origin is not yet a film or adapted to a TV show or anything, I think you should consider listening to it in audiobook format. It's the closest you're going to get to something cinematic, and it may help you. There's so much that happens with this. There is so much to follow, and I have such a strong visual of it all, despite not having seen it. And I credit it not only to Dan Brown's writing, but to the audiobook and audiobook performance. So Dan Brown's Origin, as part as the Robert Langdon series, is on my list, and I believe it is the most recently released book. And what do you think of my Hogwarts sweatshirt? Next book I want to talk about is different. It is a nonfiction title, and it is by Mike Reiss, called Springfield Confidential. Yes, that's Springfield. It is a Simpsons book, and the author talked about all of his time working on this incredible TV show. I remember listening to this while working, and it is something that if you're doing like tedious, mundane work, you can. If you're doing like, you know, don't listen to it while doing surgery. But if you're just doing like data entry or typing or something, you know, this is a book you can listen to. And if you are a Simpsons fan, I feel you must listen to it or read it, whatever, however you want to consume it, do it. But as an audiobook, if you like podcasts, you would like this in the audiobook format. It's just something you can listen to really easily while doing other things and learn so many things you didn't know about this show. So fun. I'm a big Simpsons fan, particularly, you know, when I was growing up. So those early seasons, and by early, I guess I can mean like first 15 years, you know? But, great show, great show. Let me know your favorite Simpsons episode down below if you're a Simpsons fan. And we have my last pick. It is another nonfiction title. And I always struggle when picking between the two. The book I'm picking is You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. I also sometimes consider talking about The Secret at the same time, so I will do both. They both are about the law of attraction, which is thoughts become things. I notice if you're new to the law of attraction, The Secret is what gets you first, because it's a much more materialistic and base level approach to the law of attraction. So you'll listen or read The Secret, you'll watch it, maybe it's a movie too, and it will get you hooked, and then you'll want more, and then you discover Louise Hay, who really goes about the quality of your life, your health, your wellness, the wellness of others. And it's all about mindset and taking control and things you can do to feel better in your life, to feel healthier in your life, etc. And in the past, when I was in college, I was going through a really hard time. And I would just listen to this audiobook on my way to school every day. On my drive, I would listen to it, and it really, really helped me, because by having it on an audiobook, sometimes I would interchange it with The Secret, but you know, you can't read all the time, and sometimes you do want to read different things. But do I have 5 minutes in a day to listen to some of what Louise Hay or Rhonda Byrne in The Secret is saying? Yes, I do. So I would be able to take time to do that. But let's be honest, in those dark times, I would be listening to more than 5 minutes, you know? But it really helped, man. It's taking me back to that time. So I was going, you know, when you're young, breakups are everything, you know, they really can just hurt so bad. And I felt like I didn't trust the radio, because I never knew what sort of love song would come on and it would trigger me and I'd be upset. So I would just listen to Louise Hay because I felt I could trust her. And I would watch nothing but the Golden Girls, because I felt like one of them was always at least relating to you. Like maybe Blanche was in a relationship, but Dorothy was dealing with a rejection, or there was always somebody there. And if they weren't a relationship, I didn't care, because they were in their 60s. But that's not audiobook related. But that was just going down that time. I am going to be doing a video on my favorite self-growth, self-help books. So these are going to come up again in that. But I really do love them in audiobook format. So hopefully this wasn't too direct, this whole you know, different style of doing a book chat, but it really worked out well for me, at least. So hopefully it did for you. You know, I got my makeup done, I got my laundry done, and now I can get to work. Let me know if you have listened to audiobooks and if you would like more audiobook specific content on here. This is a part of Vlogmas, which I am doing here on Wrestling with Books, and on my other channel, Wrestling with Disney. So I will create a playlist on both of those channels so you can follow along and see what you've missed. I will be having a video on this channel or that channel every day, or both some days, leading up to Christmas. So thanks for being here, and we'll talk bookish things real soon.